Test. Alright, see how we go with that. How'd this workbench get so messy? I cleaned it like a week ago. It's like some kind of slob works here. That might be me. Hey, Raphael. Okey-dokey-dokey-doke. What junk. Let's clean off some spurless flux that has fallen out of the tube before I get started, or so I can guarantee you that I will accidentally get flux on this computer, and then the person will go, ew, there's something vile and sticky on the computer, and accuse me of things. Which is not what we want. S3X, Stuart, Patui, I can't pronounce that, sorry, I'm sorry. My brain's not with it. And Margarita Doctor, Wayne, Matthew Noel from New Zealand. How's things going over there in New Zealand? In the little brother country to Australia that beats us up like a good little brother will. Even though I find I'm not really, I don't really subscribe to that, but it seems to be a popular thing. So we've got a screen damage on this supposedly. Peter is fine. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Peter. And let's see if you can see the damage right there. Oh, there. So it's, either got dropped on a corner or someone left something in the keyboard area and closed it. I'd say it's been dropped. That's a pretty decent little split. Okay, let's get the battery out of this. Unlock. I hope I've got a replacement. I can't tell until I've taken it out whether I've got a replacement for this one. Next gen Ben, can't really put a time frame on it because really, I've just been doing it all my life. Well, not all my life, but a good portion of my life. Let's see. Ah, God, I hate these. Use the adhesive. So this is probably a 30-pin slimline 15.6 panel. I'm fairly sure I've got them in stock. Just cut away this adhesive. Yeah, the horror noises. I think that's the hardest thing about doing screen replacements like this, is getting used to that horrible noise and believing that you haven't actually destroyed the computer. Yeah, see this adhesive here. Rather than using proper screws or anything, they're just, adhesive. And unfortunately, inevitably, you do break the occasional tab. Honestly, I try not to fret too much about that. I mean, you'd prefer not to, but it's pretty impossible to get away with no tab breaks. I am hoping by the time I finish this that the some other jobs turn up. I'm kind of waiting for a couple of phones to turn up that I have to do screen replacements on. Let's see, you're going to be difficult? No, you're going to be simple. Good. I had a job the other week. It was one of the new sort of fully flip over touchscreen type displays, and I just honestly I took a look at it and I said no thanks and sent it back. Some screens are just not worth trying to replace. Okay, so this is a B156 tier XTN07. Fairly sure I got a compatible one for that. Yeah, it's time to dig through the archives. Just for the weekend, Stuart, that's all. Just running out for the weekend. Wayne, these screens are usually not much more than... Let's see, I think that's a match. Oops, upside down. Oh no, this must be the Northern Hemisphere version. It was upside down. Like, I mean, I usually do these replacements for about 189. The screens cost around about 89. And so it's actually a pretty good return on investment in time. I can go straight into the bin. About the only thing those screens are good for is occasionally you may want to steal the LCD connector or perhaps some of the backlight electronics. But that's in a very rare scenario that you need to do that. Come on. That weird, the connector doesn't actually seem to sit quite right. Hey Pedro. Yeah, it fits, but it's not as ideal as I would like. It's okay. We'll make it a little more secure. Stick some good old Captain tape over it. Captain Jack tape. And I did get my e-ink 7.5-inch panel the other day, but the damn thing doesn't work. I sent a email and video to the people to show that it doesn't work, and I haven't heard from them since. So I'm fairly sure I did that through PayPal. If that's the case and they don't respond to me, then I'll just simply put in a PayPal claim and say it don't work and they don't respond. It'll probably take a month before I get that back, but anyway. Just gently fold this back. You gotta be careful when you're folding these things because, like on some motorbikes, the screen/engine is a important stressed member of the whole assembly. And if you do not have it bolted in place and you move things around too much, you will permanently distort things. Hey Tom Love. So how's everyone going with the isolation process? It's really nothing out of the ordinary here for me. I'm like, yep, bring it on. I've got no problems with the isolation. I love it. The biggest problems we've got here is the same as that everyone else has, which is of course the shortage of supply of certain essential elements, such as toilet paper. And now flour and sugars started to disappear off the shelves, and obviously hand sanitizer is completely off the shelves. So that's the most frustrating part, but everything else is quite fun. Stuart, you're going nuts. Shame. Hey, Jacob Anderson. Let's get this. I usually try to do this after I put the bezel on. Let's see if I can get away with that this time. The reason being is every now and then you can have a botch up as you're putting the bezel back on, and you might scrape the bezel across the screen. I mean, these screens are quite tough in general. Yeah, I think we're going to be good. I'll just yank it out now, since the bezel is sweet. It seems we've got to do about 3 or 4 rounds to get all the clips in again. Oh, there's another one over there. Yeah, the isopropylene. Yeah, I mean, we've still got some metho on hand. I'm down to my last sort of half litre of metho. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to use it for drinking or hand washing. It's a tough choice. Don't drink metho. Okay. Put those little broken scraps of plastic and throw it to the bin so that no one can see what we did. Let's plug this back in. So we've got these back clips that sometimes need to be just coaxed. Damn it. Okay, that one's in. There's always got to be one. That's just wants to play silly buggers. There we go. 2 done. Cats are good. Cats are good. They keep waking us up though, which is really not good. After about 6 to 8 months of not getting proper night's sleep, it actually does start to have an impact. Nope, that one's mine. Okay, let's see if this thing boots. Oh yeah, so unfortunately we do... we've got a Mayer lemon tree, so I can always use those Mayer lemons to soften the blow, to ease up on the intensity of the metho. Yeah. Almost plugged it in the wrong hole then. Okay, let's see, F10. Yep, that looks good. No troubles at all. And we weren't expecting any troubles, to be honest. Okay, so it's a... wow, it's a 3060 and 3060. This will be a slow machine. Exit and save changes, yes please. Still, no one was surprised that that worked. That was a very straightforward. I'm just going to make sure it boots up okay, because a lot of the time, depending on what caused that break, it can also have a damaged hard drive. So I am really curious. Okay, this is actually, now that I'm looking at it, it's a point break. So there was something sitting about there. So it was something sitting about there. And you can see the center, the epicenter of the crack. So that's what's happened. So there shouldn't be any hard drive damage, but this is going to take forever to boot. Arnold G, how the hell did he do that? 20 volts to the USB data bin? Stuart, sorry. Yep, no, Alien Marvel, whatever his name is. Is it Marvin? I can't remember. But, that's looking just dandy fine. The battery's not charging. Fantastic. This is the downside when you get jobs like this where it comes in as just crack screen. And you get the screen back up and running, and then you find, oh, the battery doesn't work, or oh, the hard drive's damaged, and things like that. And it's difficult because you've got to go back to the customer and say, well, we found that your hard drive's not working properly and your battery's not working properly, and it's going to cost you this much more to get things replaced. And at that point they go, oh hell no, don't bother about it, and the trouble is you have already done the screen assembly, and you're kind of like, well, hell. But in this case, they're just wanting to be able to use it plugged in to do the internet, because obviously, you know, with everyone in quarantine, well, not quarantine, but isolation at the moment, so they will be more than content to have actually got a machine back. So I'm going to have to shut this down properly. Whoops, sorry, whoever you are. Shut down. Hey, Brascog and Unos Dos. So, staying home, waiting to get somewhat back to normal in IT, working from home, just up and remotely. Yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting change in the world overall after this is said and done. There's probably going to be a big push for domestic manufacturing industry to be revitalized, but I have a feeling that after the initial, say, maybe 5 years, we'll go back to our old habits of offshoring everything, and yeah, because we'll go, well, that only happened once in, well, let's see, 100 years. I mean, if you sort of take the Spanish flu as the last one. And people go, we can hedge that risk and just simply go back to offshoring again. Jacob Anderson, my place is finally getting MBN on the 15th of April. Wow. Jeez. Yeah, that's what found rather amazing is that we are out here in the relative nowhere, Charters Towers. It's a small place in the middle of North Queensland. And we got MBN 5 years ago, easily. No, maybe longer now. Maybe we're very early on the ambient. Agreeably, this is fibre to the node. We unfortunately missed out on fibre to the premises because the election came along and ruined all that. Which I see Malcolm Turnbull just in the last couple of days is taking credit for the Liberal Party's mixed mode version of the NBN being ready and running already. And that was a bit of a slap in the face because that bastard, if he hadn't changed things, then we would all probably have fibre to the premises by now, and would have been a few billion less than what they've already spent, and we as a country, as taxpayers, would actually be getting our money back from it. But instead now, we ended up paying Foxtel whatever, and we paid Telstra whatever how many times for their copper over and over, and we're still stuck with shitty copper networks. So if I ever move house, then I'll be looking for a place that has fibre to the premises, because I don't think we're going to see any rollout of that anymore for perhaps the next 50 years. So unfortunately, because of the political changes, we basically lost 50 years worth of technological advancement thanks to Malcolm. So bravo. That guy's going to deny it to his grave, no doubt. I mean, that's a politician for you. Which is really sad because he basically took a crowbar to Australia's collective IT, business knees, and just smashed our knees and left us crippled. So thank you very much, Malcolm. Great choice, buddy. You have cable in Ballarat and normal network speeds around 300 megabits per second. 30 megabyte. But then again, how realistic is that? Yeah, well, he was a businessman. The stupid thing is, the guy himself knew better. Yeah, he knew that it was the technically better option. I mean, he has it to his own house. I mean, we, the taxpayer, paid for that to his house. I'm sure he's just loving it right now. What can you do? Not a lot. Let's see, I'm just trying to see if I do actually have any machines that are pending repair, but I don't think I do anymore. So let me have a look in the shelves. Now I know that show Malcolm in the Middle, I remember that one. Let's see, 11... No, I think I got a is this a battery replacement one? This might have to have a battery replaced. IM6 skills, what kind of connection you got there? Because obviously that's not a standard NBN type connection, because they would cap you at 100. 140, whatever. IINet, what kind of dedicated IINet? And what's your upload like? Because that's the trouble with cable, is it doesn't really have a very good asynchronous performance. So you can get down really fast, but I think what is going to be the painful thing for a lot of people is finding out that in order to do a lot of the remote work that we're doing now, we actually need equally good performance in both directions. In the old days where we were just simply data consumers, it wasn't so bad. You know, you could just have your download rate. fairly good, and your upload rate okay. Okay, I'm just looking for this particular job to see. Let's see. Some of the keys intermittently working, touchpad is still working. Oh, damn, this is a new keyboard job. No, this is not a battery replacement job. Bugger. Yeah, not looking forward to this. I've got one that's a battery replacement job. Let's see, number 17. Okay, time to go find 17. I'm not going to do a keyboard replacement on screen, no sorry. Not again. And not for $13.98. Ow. Now I've already forgotten the damn number of the other. Crud. Come on, Paul. You can do better than this. Ah, here we go. Amusingly already, you know. Oh, how sad. I've already actually taken the battery out. Well, that's boring. I thought I was going to be doing a battery extraction, but not. Instead, we're just going to do a boring assembly. Okay, let's not overload them too much. $120. What? Is that, are you pulling up, buddy? Are you pulling up? Damn it, you're not. Damn. Thought it was going to be my phone screen replacements, because I kind of want those. And I want them because it gives me something to do on this weekend, even though I've got plenty of other things I should be doing. And primarily because it's money. Money, 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 money. Okay. What? Someone set the fan speed to low? That's just sad. It wasn't me. Lyndon, there isn't really too much of a story to tell. I mean, it's just something that I've always been inclined to do, and just simply the area in which I do it varies over time, I guess. Let's see, where are those damn flexes? And then, you know, every now and then I'll sort of change around, do a bit of manufacturing. A lot of what I do is basically depending on what the market's like. So there have been plenty of times where I've had to completely shut down and start again, lose a lot of money, get started. Yeah, it's just, if your business is, you know, if the market's shrinking or something like that, or you just can't compete anymore, you know, one day you just wake up and you decide, that's it, I need to do something different. And you sort of go looking around for something different. Sometimes you just fall back to old habits out of a bit of a fallback. And so like when my manufacturing side of things was no longer profitable or effective. I sort of fell back to IT, just fixing up Windows machines, things like that. And that was until the whole MacBook thing started to come along. And then I just sort of pulled out all the old equipment that I was using for manufacturing and tried to do some MacBooks with that, but unfortunately it was a bit of a disaster initially. I mean, I did some repairs, but that was quite difficult without the microscope, without the Hakko, all the kind of specific items that make these repairs viable without you losing your sanity. Right, because I was yib-yabbing then, I forgot to do the squish and swirl. So now I've got to back off all of these just a fraction. Spread that stuff around. And make sure I get the alignment right. Torque it back down. I'll just do those two until I can get it back in the chassis, and then we can align this one. Also got a bit of junk there. I think it's flux. How's 15 saving? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm pretty damn close, but I do really want to add another 10 on top of that. Like I said, I'm still dealing with the fact that this region is blacklisted in terms of the banks. So, like, you ask for a loan in this region for the house, and they'll be like, nope. So the industry of that town is going nowhere, which is, of course, gold mining primarily. We also do education and cattle. But overall, there's not a lot of confidence from the bank for this sort of thing. And then, of course, it's hard to say whether the coronavirus will play in my favor or against. On the one side, the house prices will probably drop in general, which kind of actually doesn't play in my favor in this case. On the downside is the banks are going to be like, well, people aren't generally, there's not a lot of money running around on normal jobs, so what you going to do? Michael, I used to manufacture model aircraft electronics, just little bits and pieces, gadgets for different purposes. And I had about 20 or 30 product lines at one point. In the end, it was only about 3 or 4 that were the real profit makers. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Turnaround time was the hardest thing in terms of by the time you get an idea for something that you want to manufacture, and then you have to go, you conjure it up in your head, you do the circuit board in Eagle or whatever, and you send it off to go get done by the board creators, and that would be 3 to 4 weeks. And then you find within 10 seconds of you getting that board back that you forgot a very important aspect, and so you make the revision, you send it off again, another 3-4 weeks. So it was, if things went well, within about 3 months you should have a product that you could start selling. But things didn't always go well. So sometimes it could be 6 months. Oh, hello, what's this? Oh, okay. Not rightly sure if that screw's in the right place, but it's not a real big issue right now. City nodes, gold mining around here. We're a long way from Cooper Pedy, where they do the opals. Don't tell me you're a mangled up touch. Please do not tell me you're a mangled up touchpad. Okay, you are, aren't you? It's not bad, but I hope it doesn't bite me in the butt. Hey, Greg. So you don't have the kid in the pool? What? No, I don't have any kids. No, no. Unless they're talking about other people. Okay, let's see if we can clean this up. IPA is not going to work. Those pins are a bit shonky. They're gonna need some rework. Damn, I'm in no mood to take the metal plate off either. This metal plate that sits between the battery and the trackpad, it's held down by just a big lump of two-sided adhesive. Completely and utterly unkind to normal removal. Give us the last dregs of flux. Wayne, I didn't do too many exotic planes. Most of the stuff that I did were most of the things that I focused on at the end were discus launch gliders, which is completely not scale or anything. It's just, but it was quite an engineering. It was fun on the engineering side of things. I was designing them. Okay, that looks like that made a pretty good. Yeah, this is where being a perfectionist or whatever bites me in the butt. That there is all very nicely cleaned up now, but I have this incredible urge to just tap it a little more, but I'm actually going to put the soldering iron away. Look at that. Some people would be proud of me for putting that away without touching it. Oh, geez, no cam. No, well, guess you'll get to see the after effects. Well, it's nice and clean now, to the point where none of you will even know that that was dirty with corrosion. Hey Brasscog, well, enjoy the decompression being here. Idiot. I knew I'd do it backwards. There we go. Wayne, I'm actually not a fan of the new, EPO or any of the phone ones really. I do like my wood planes. That was the challenge for me when it came to the discus launch glider, is that I was making it out of balsa wood primarily, whereas everyone else really did just mostly use composites, because composites are a bit tricky. You can't really manufacture them at home quite as easily. I've got my screws all screwed up. Okay, the long ones are definitely going to go in the front there. But I think these broad flat ones are the ones that are meant to go in here. Yes, they are, not these. Okay, that's better. Which means I'm not really sure where those two belong, but we'll find out one way or another. Wayne, I've still got 3 or 4 balsa kits in the shed from Mountain Models. I don't know if you know who they are, but yeah, the supplier was Mountain Models, and they actually manufactured a number of the designs I did. That was when laser cut balsa was the new and exciting thing. No, you don't go there, do you? No. I agree, Wayne. The build is actually the fun bit. Well, yeah, let me rephrase. For me, the design is the fun bit. The design, the prototype, the test. And once I've confirmed that a design works, I sort of get bored of it real quick. And it's like, right, next. And I think that's why I found that discus launch was perhaps what I liked the most, is because even when I got the design right, or well enough, the challenge of actually flying them well was enough to keep me entertained for quite some time. And personally, I loved electric ones. I hated nitros. I mean, nitros smell great. I don't think anyone can deny that. The smell of a nitromethanol motor, that's always such a nice smell. Cancerous, but nice. Hey Ben. Yeah, the simplicity of electric is just beautiful. I did design a few motor controllers, but when brushless motors came out, I sort of stepped back a bit there. That was around about the time that AVRs were getting quite popular, and the ST32s was just starting to hit the market. And people were getting brushless controllers working with the AVRs, but it was a little bit of a stretch sometime. Look. You really needed every cycle of the chip. Hey Corey. City, I built flyby lion batwing. Oh my god, those things are great for making you vomit. I remember my first one. It was it was one of those classic Cox ones. Okay, this board is sitting slightly sort of not right, and it's annoying me. I can probably jam the board into the position that I want it, but I'd prefer not to. Because what will happen is the stress will generally build up in these dog legs. You should build a mini jet plane. You're talking about the actual turbine jets? Still remember paying $1,100 for 10-channel radio. Oh yeah, the changing over to the 2.4 gigahertz was a massive improvement. I had to laugh though when they made some pretty outlandish claims about just how good 2.4 was going to be. They're like saying you can have 50 or 60 planes in the air at once and no collisions, as in no interference. I was like, no, it doesn't quite work like that, guys. And sure enough, after about 10 or 12, people were starting to get interference between each other. But they've probably sorted those issues out now by, as long as they didn't commit to their protocols too early. I do still miss having my JR X2610 26210, oh whatever. Anyway, my JR transmitters, I do miss having them. They were nice, very nicely designed. And I've seen their 2.4 gigahertz offerings lately and none of them really appeal in the same way. Which is a bit silly considering that, you know, it's just a transmitter, for goodness sake, Paul. Hey, Blackhood. 4540, you're in the... Oh, the Estes rocket, it's cool. We weren't allowed to have them here in Australia. Then again, maybe I think about 1988, maybe 1990 they might have brought them in, but when I was first growing up, there was a big no-no. Use 4.8 for cars. Wow, didn't realise I had 4.8 ratified. And after all this, I've still got to put the battery in, which hopefully shouldn't be too much drama. It should be a case of just sliding it in. I'd say the worst thing I hate about putting batteries into these machines is the fact that you sort of got to get it right almost the first time. Otherwise it gets jammed under there, and yeah, then you basically got to rip it all out if you want to change things. That's not fun. Wrong way, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way, the other way. Yeah, Wayne was other, you'd have the frequency board at the club and you try and get your key in there quickly enough so that someone else didn't nick your spot. And of course it seems like everyone would always be on the same frequency that you just bought a heap of crystals for. So definitely the new radios have improved that considerably. And I imagine they've solved most of the problems of shadowing and things like that. Hey RSM. You purchased Flex Boardview, thank you. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Maybe you should tell Lewis that it works well. He doesn't seem to think so. I do need to spend some time. I've got some updates for Boardview overall, but it's just, I'm just trying to sort out some business side of things a little bit too. I had a couple of failures recently, like I would fix up the machine here, would test for a couple of days, no troubles, and I sent them off, and it failed when it would get there, and that kind of really put my, well, it really put my nose out of joint, and it obviously put the customer's nose out of joint, and I'm just not sure if I've done something wrong, or did I miss something in testing, things like that. And so I'm going to take some time and revisit what I'm doing, check my checklists, things like that. One of the problems though is that when one of the machines came back, it worked as soon as it got here, and that's really annoying, because obviously the person is not going to send it back to me if it wasn't working. Oh, sorry, if it was working. So now I've got to try and work out what's going on. Bounces do happen, but sometimes you really can't afford it to happen. And depending on the people, some people, it's usually depending on their customers. Some people have customers that are just naturally very understanding, and you don't get any trouble. But other people do have New York-like customers, and so there's a lot of pressure on them, and naturally that pressure gets blown back towards me. And I get that, and I understand, because no one likes to have made a customer wait a couple of weeks to get a machine back that they've just charged them several $100s for, only for it to not work. So I'm completely understanding and empathise with the situation, but I've got to find out what's going on. So that's the hard thing, and I am not leaving the battery like this. I'm just going to test, fit it, make sure it runs properly, and then I'll yank it out again and peel the plastic away. I found out what those two screws for. That's for the Have you seen the DJI FPV goggles for FPV drone racing? I have seen the drone racing. I haven't actually ever experienced the goggles. I believe some Australians, one of the world leaders in the drone racing. I have seen the video of that multi-million-dollar drone race circuit in, I think it was Qatar, or I don't know how to pronounce it, over in United Arab or wherever, where they got so much money they don't know what to do with it. You don't know where you can find a Linux driver for the SIS? Oh my gosh, no. It's been a long time since I've seen that chip mentioned. I think I had an old VIA machine that had that. Okay, let's see if this even boots. 18.5, power on. We got junk in the charge port, we do indeed. Somebody left a little capacitor in there. Advanced spin. Fun spun. GPU failure. Oh shit. GPU's dead on this. Oh, that sucks. Shut down. Well, that's no good at all. And there's not much I can do about that one. Yeah. How decidedly unpleasant. I do believe this was the one that I was complaining about when I originally fixed it up, that it was going to have VRAM issues. Oh, that sucks. Damn. Question, is it VRAM or is it the actual GPU? And I just assembled the whole damn thing. Typical. I'll have to look at the job code. Water damage. Yep. No, that's... I think it would be foolish of me to try and repair this on the grounds that it is likely GPU damage, and probably in a way that I can't guarantee it will be functioning forevermore after, for the lifetime. So I'm just going to have to, yeah, bugger. Well, I might leave that as is in this assembled state, and then let the person know there's really not much point. So basically I'm going to walk away with a loss on this one, because I did the repair, got it spinning and running, but it's too, yeah. Wah wah. Just what I needed on a day like today. Fantastic. Well, I guess I should be happy that the screen repair that we did earlier was functioning. And it looks like I've got a battery here now that it's going to go into storage. Yeah, disappointing job for sure. But like I said, I think it'd be foolish to try and say to them, yeah, we'll get that up and running. Yeah, maybe I can reflow the chip, or, you know, I don't mean do a proper GPU reflow, I just mean like, you know, run some flux under it, boil it off, things like that. But it happens. So I guess we'll now just go back on the shelf. It's not a battery I normally replace on these, but guess I've got one now. That's the other thing, is you lose your time on these jobs, and then you also lose your cash flow because you've invested into some stock that you may not actually move for quite a while. And it will sit there, and then probably by the time that it is ready to move it, the battery will be too old or something like that, or it might start puffing up. So yeah, you got to be careful with these things. Can very easily lose money very quickly. So how's the quality of OEM batteries? The ones I've been getting, I'm very happy with them. I haven't had any troubles. They are more expensive than the ones that you can get, say, from China or eBay. And I guess I'm paying the extra money for the fact that I want to be sure that I'm getting the best one I can. Looking for a display of 2016 1708 MacBook Pro. Yeah, Union Repair. It's probably about your best bet. Oh well. Oh well, my phone repairs have not arrived, so I'm just going to have to finish up at this. Well, at least we've got one job done. And I've got to say hello to you all and check that you're all still alive. And for those of you who have joined and aren't alive, well, I'm very sorry to hear that. But that's the way it goes. So, battery supplier. John, in Australia, it is, I use Broadway computers, and they're quite good. They do a lot of MacBook repairs themselves, actually, so them selling me parts probably costs them more business than just the parts. That's the way it goes. I figure they sort of probably think, if they don't sell me the part, I'll just get them from somewhere else. That's the way it goes. Alright, I'm out of here. You all take care. I'll catch us later. And, yeah, be safe, everybody, please. Thank you.